I've stopped pretending it's a coincidence. The first time, I cried for 3 days. By the third, I just opened a new bottle of wine and re-downloaded Tinder. It felt sick, wrong. But not dating wasn't stopping anything, so why suffer alone? I don't fall in love anymore. I observe, I document, I wait. It's always 6 days, not 5, not 7, 6. Like the world is running a script, and I'm the glitch that triggers the ending. I tried dating a woman once. Nothing happened. She ghosted me on day 2. I went back to men on day 3, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to know. Police thought I was a black widow, but I was never even in the same zip code when some of them died. The case collapsed. They couldn't make sense of it. I could. Heart attacks, car crashes. One fell into a manhole. Another had a piano fall on him. Not kidding. It sounded made up until it happened again. I started taking notes, correlations, patterns. I made a spreadsheet, color-coded columns, date, location, manner of death. Every new entry made me feel a little less insane and a little less human. My therapist said I was traumatizing myself by trying to make sense of it. Then he had a heart attack. He wasn't my type. But we had dinner once. That was enough. I started testing smaller interactions, casual coffee dates, flirtations. They were safe, until I kissed one. 6 days later, he fell off a cruise ship, slipped over the railing while posing for a selfie. No one even touched him. I don't cry anymore. I document, then I swipe. It's mechanical now, ritualistic, like clocking in at a job no one understands. Sometimes I try to guess how they'll die just to keep myself amused. The banker I dated last spring? I bet on stroke. Wrong. Lightning strike. Indoors. On day 1, they're charming, confident, smiling like the world still makes sense. Day 2, they text me songs, memes, voice notes that say, "You're magic." I always save the voice notes. I don't know why. Day 3, something shifts. They look tired, a shadow under their eyes, always the left one first. Some report headaches, nosebleeds, migraines. One thought he had a brain tumor. Day 4, they dream about teeth. Every single one of them. Crumbling, falling out, turning to dust in their mouths. One called me sobbing, said his tongue turned to sand. Day 5, they try to cancel. Say they're not feeling well, that they dreamt about drowning in salt, that the sun looked different that morning. One guy said the shadows in his apartment didn't match the light. Day 6, I watch the news, or I hear a siren, or I get a text that starts with, "Did you hear about?" I once tried warning one. I told him flat out, "You'll die in 6 days." He laughed, then asked for a selfie. He died choking on a Rubik's cube. No one could explain how it even got in his mouth. They buried him with his jaw wired shut. Another time, I met this actor. Gorgeous. Eyes like a wolf. He believed me, said he had a psychic once tell him something similar. We decided to spend all 6 days together, live like it was his last week. On day 6, he carved "thank you" into a tree and walked straight into the ocean. They never found his body. I've tried breaking the cycle, abstinence, isolation, meditation retreats. One time I tried praying, but it's not the apps, it's me, or whatever rides shotgun in my skin. I tried fasting, sage smudging, therapy, psychedelics, even an exorcism in New Orleans. The only thing that changed was the speed of the spiral. Once I found a post on an obscure forum. "You are the angel of decay." It had one reply, just a username, and a heart emoji. Sometimes I wonder if I'm even real, if I died once and I'm just a glitch in someone else's story. Or maybe I was never alive in the first place, just a placeholder, a marker for an ending. The night my mother died, she whispered something. I didn't hear it then, but now I hear it like a radio signal through static. Not all ghosts haunt, some attract. I think I attract something, or maybe I am the thing, the black hole, the countdown. I've considered recording a warning, a YouTube video, a blog, an anonymous confession. But who would believe a woman who kills with a kiss and a calendar? Sometimes I fantasize about being interviewed, telling the world everything, then laughing as I vanish from the screen. I stopped saving photos of them. I just save the dates. I print them on index cards, pin them to my wall. Some overlap, some form strange constellations. One date repeats every few months, November 6th. I've had 3 die on that day. I Googled it. Apparently it's the anniversary of a massive solar flare in 1997. Don't know why that matters, but it does. A Reddit thread once claimed I was an urban legend. Someone said I was the Salt Widow, that I fed on final breaths. I laughed for 10 minutes, then cried for 2 hours. They also said people like me used to be burned, that I was the reason plagues followed certain caravans, that I walk with something behind me, always behind. Sometimes I feel it too. Not visually, not audibly, just a pressure, like gravity's a little heavier when I'm not alone. I tried spending time in nature once. I thought maybe being away from cities would break the rhythm. I met a man at a hiking lodge. He didn't have a phone. We spent 6 days together living off the grid. On the 6th, he was mauled by something no one could identify. The rangers never found tracks, just blood and hair and pieces. I started dreaming of numbers, long strings of them. Sometimes I wake up and write them down. They don't mean anything, except one day I saw a license plate with the exact same sequence. That man died later that day. I met a guy last week. Quiet, smart. He asked me if I believed in parallel lives. I asked him if he believed in sudden death. He didn't laugh. He said, "Maybe I'm already dead somewhere else. Might as well make it count here." We made love. It felt like a countdown. We moved like borrowed time, like people dancing in a house that's already burning. He dies tomorrow. He left a voice note last night. Said he felt calm. Said he dreamt of me standing at the edge of the sea, holding something that pulsed like a heart but glowed like fire. I dreamt about his death too. I was there. So was he. So was something else. Behind him, tall and eyeless, humming a tune I almost recognized. It held his shoulder like an old friend. I woke up smiling and crying. I don't know why. I got a letter this morning. Handwritten, no stamp, just my name on the front. Inside, a drawing. A perfect rendering of the creature from my dream. Underneath it, the words, "You're doing beautifully." It was signed with an initial, M. I don't know anyone with that name. I held the paper to my nose. It smelled like salt and ash. I checked my reflection in the mirror this morning. For the first time, I saw something watching me from the other side. It wasn't me. It smiled first. I whispered, "Are you the one doing this?" And the reflection nodded. But I hadn't moved. I haven't looked in the mirror since. There are other signs too. Little ones. Streetlights flicker when I pass under them. Not always, but often enough. Dogs bark at me from behind fences. Babies stare at me, then burst into tears. I tried walking backward once for an entire block. I thought maybe if I reversed my steps I could reverse the curse. I tripped, landed hard, and cracked my tailbone, but the man I'd kissed that week still died. Fell down an elevator shaft that shouldn't have been open. I spoke to a priest. He blessed me with holy water. It sizzled on my skin. He said he'd never seen that before. I told him he would die in 6 days. He told me to leave. He died in 5. I've read obscure books, ones with cracked leather covers and no titles. I found one in an antique shop that vibrated when I touched it. Inside were drawings, faces without mouths, numbers in spirals. One of the pages had my name, spelled backward. I didn't buy the book, but it disappeared from the shelf the next day. I hear things now, whispers when I turn off the lights, laughter when I'm alone in the bath, a slow knock on the window when it's raining, always 3 knocks, always too slow to be wind. Sometimes I try to convince myself it's a psychosis, a trauma loop, a story I invented to protect myself from grief. But then, someone else dies, and the story gets teeth again. The men keep coming, drawn in like moths. They message me first, even when I haven't logged in for weeks. One showed up at my door, said he saw me in a dream and knew I lived here. I let him in. He lasted 6 days. That was when I stopped trying to fight it. I started researching death cults, ancient rites, secret orders. I read about a group in the 1400s who believed in threshold women, Beings who weren't gods but weren't human either. Women who opened the door to something else, who lured men not to destroy them, but to offer them. Offer them to what? That's the part they never wrote down. A psychic once told me I have a shadow that's not mine. She said it walks beside me, mimicking my every move, but with its eyes closed. And one day, when it opens its eyes, everything will change. Sometimes I wonder if that already happened. Last week, I woke up to my apartment rearranged, subtle things, books alphabetized, my cutlery perfectly aligned, a bowl of salt in the center of the floor. I live alone. I left it there. I dream of doors now. Not normal ones. Circular doors made of bone and something that smells like electricity. I never open them, but I hear something breathing on the other side. I don't think it wants to hurt me. I think it's waiting for me to let it through. And maybe I already have. And tonight, I'm swiping again. Not because I want to, not because I need to, but because something in me isn't done yet. And I don't think it ever will be.